So we're at City Hall now, and we're going to march to the Senedd. We've deliberately kept numbers low today, and we're going to be 2 meters apart as we're walking, and we're holding a vigil, and we're calling for the police all over Wales to investigate children's services departments, which are in too many cases providing false evidence which is enabling children to be taken into care.
Okay, so just remember to stay 2 meters apart. What we're calling for today is a police inquiry into children's services departments all over Wales. I'm Neil McAvoy, I'm a member of the Senedd for South Wales Central, and on my books I have case after case after case where children are unfairly taken into care on the basis of false evidence. We're in a situation where false evidence is presented to children's services departments, false evidence is presented to judges, and children are taken into care. What we need to realise today is that one of the major growth industries in Wales is taking children into care. 80% of looked after children in Wales are looked after by private companies, and you have individuals becoming millionaires on the basis of false lies that take children from their families. So what we're here to do today is to call for a police inquiry into children's services in Wales. I have behind me families walk into the centre today where we're going to have a vigil. It's time that people started to find out about the scandal and what is happening in Wales. What's your Alex?
Some of you do know me as a social worker working for Neil, trying to help parents. But before I became a social worker, I was a social scientist. I trained as a social scientist, which leaves me interested in patterns, okay, and the patterns that have been coming out of our work. Now, when Neil first asked me to help, I wasn't clear why so many constituents were having so much difficulty with children's services. Parents asked for help to do with children in care, but also to try to stop children going into care. So, first step, work out what's going on. 3 years later, I'm still asking that question. What on earth has been going on? There are patterns. For example, almost every family that came to us had either a parent or a child with a long-standing illness or a disability that children's services showed very little interest in. It's harder to cope with visits and meetings with children's services when you are managing symptoms. It's even harder when there is no recognition of pain or anxiety, and parents are misunderstood and disbelieved. But ill health and disability are still a normal part of family life. And it's just that parents are forced to manage differently, and there is a law that's supposed to protect them. So disability, including mental health, is protected as a protected characteristic under the Equalities Act. Cardiff Children's Services are meant to think about how their policies or decisions affect people protected under the Equality Act. And that's on top of their duty not to discriminate. Dyslexia makes it harder to cope with children's services, the reams of paper that you get. And parents who are also carers are not getting proper recognition for their efforts either. Now, I'm not seeing any patterns of reasonable adjustments being made by children's services. Just a fortnight ago, a dad described asking a children's social worker for help with his adult disabled son. She told him that it wasn't her job. Instead of assisting the family, children's services forcibly removed his younger child into care. Now, maybe she didn't know that she should have referred for disability and carers assessments, but he thought she wasn't interested. And if you look, the protected characteristics are not just about disability, they include things like sex, and that's to do with, I feel, the misogyny that I've been seeing, in which women are stereotyped in the expectations that are made about them. and it's very difficult. So I've, in response, I think I've met quite a stream of what I would call very feisty women trying to stand up for their kids. So where is the justice in all this?
Where we have children being taken into care on the basis of false allegations and lies, and this corruption needs to be exposed.
Please